Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's your boy, Ben Humble, on the Data Drama Show here today. We got a pretty amazing episode here today. We're talking about blocking out the noise. Way too much noise going on right now, so we're going to talk about how do we do that. And I've got a really amazing friend of mine. Actually, we got one of our first in-studio interviews, which is going to be amazing. Today we're talking about how to block out the noise, and I'm really excited about this topic because I keep talking about every day how to stay focused in your business, your mindset, your personal development, your health, your wealth, and really pushing forward. So my guest today is my man. I met this guy a couple years ago, Mr. Lambo Lapdog. He goes by on Instagram, Dan Crosby. Dan's a good buddy of mine, and I see this guy. He's got 2 Lamborghinis, like super Lamborghinis, right? And I'm watching this guy. I'm thinking, man, this guy can't be much older than I am. He's in my town, and people in my town at this age don't have Lamborghinis. So I get curious who this guy is, and it turns out he's a legitimate business owner. He's got a supplement company. He's also in a new emerging market as well. He's got a company there. So Dan's got 2 or 3 companies. Then I found out the guy also has almost $50 million worth of real estate, which is just insane to me. So he's on an amazing trajectory. He's a young guy. He's only 37 years old. And, you might follow him already, Lambo Lapdog. If not, today I'm going to introduce you to him and really start getting the conversation going. So without further ado, in the studio right now, I got my man, Mr. Dan Crosby, Lambo Lapdog. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
How are you? Welcome.
I'm good.
All right, just for everybody at home, because I know you're all concerned, we do have some social distancing. Look, you can't even see me in dude's camera,
No.
But he definitely is in the studio here with me.
By the way, if you guys are interested in real estate investing and you are in Canada, I wrote a book here called Real Estate Secrets Exposed. Learn how to actually make money virtually, which is cool, from the comfort of your home. Yes, it is possible if you understand the value and how to do wholesaling. And if you don't know anything about wholesaling, you need to grab this book. It's absolutely free. There's no page numbers. There's nothing else in there. It's just ready to go, though. Humble.co to grab your free copy.
All right, let's jump into today's topic here, man, because this is going to be a really, really cool conversation. So, Dan, a lot of people are really focused on what everybody else is doing. One thing I've come to admire about you, by the way, other than the fact that you're rocking the Humble Bee hat, so props to you for that, okay? One thing I've come to admire about you is that you always seem to be staying in your own lane. Mm-hmm. So maybe could you give us a backstory, dude, of like, kind of give us the rundown, like kind of where you came from and how did you get to this point? Because at your age, man, at 37 years old, for you to have an amazing, a company in the supplement space, you've got a new production facility here for extract from marijuana industry. You've also got a ton of real estate. Mm. That stuff is just like most people just don't have that. Yeah. So give us your backstory a little bit. Did you start with a silver spoon? Did you do it yourself? And how did you stay focused all this time?
No, I mean, for the longest time in the beginning, I ended up saving all my money from even when I started working actually when I was 8 years old, delivering papers. Had multiple jobs all the time, dishwasher, produce at Zehrs, all that type of stuff. I just saved all my money and worked as much as I could, saved up a bunch of, saved up about 180 grand. Wasn't really sure what I was going to use for it. Really wasn't sure what I was going to apply it to. But I always knew growing up, my mom, especially growing up here, coming from over here from Portugal, she was dirt poor. She didn't have anything. So they always stressed to me, having savings or something in the bank was going to make my life easier. So they like instilled that in me, and got to a point where, I was in school and I was getting really good grades. I was even like actually in high school. Was it in high school or grade school? Grade school. And I was like traveling around to like different high schools and actually like doing like math competitions. And then I went to high school, and the first couple of years of high school were okay. And then I just kind of like started falling off. I just hated school. I started to hate school. I just wanted to care about having a good time, and got to a point where I barely graduated high school. Ended up going to college, practically flunked out of college, tried multiple programs, ended up squeaking through into a university, pretty much flunked out of there. And then it just got to a point where I've tried multiple programs and then I ended up dropping out, and I ended up opening a supplement company, not a supplement company, but like a supplement store, and also making the stock for the store in my basement.
So you were doing homebrew.
Yeah, pretty much. But okay. It was good quality. It was good quality. And I was doing that because I always felt like I can actually like make better product and make better supplements and stuff like that, and better tasting product. Ended up getting into a lease with a local landlord here in Windsor, and I ended up finding out that he had a large portfolio of properties, and he ended up agreeing to sit with me because I ended up withholding multiple months of rent from him until he agreed to sit down with me and talk real estate.
So you were doing a rental deferral. So you were part of that, but you did it before it was cool. You did rental deferral as a strategy to get a hold of the owner of that place, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So he would actually come into the unit and collect rent from me and everything, and he came in and he was like, your rent's due and everything. I said, listen, like, I'll pay you the rent, but you have to agree to sit down with me. He's like, I'm too busy right now and this and that. And I'm like, and he's like, okay, you got the rent? And I said, yeah, I got the rent. And he's like, okay, well, can I have it? And I said, no, you can't. You can't have it until you sit down with me and we talk. And he came back multiple times, and he ended up, started getting upset and this and that. And I was just kind of like, at the end of the day, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Do whatever you got to do. You're going to sit down with me if you want this money. It's right here.
Yeah.
So he ended up sitting down with me. I ended up actually buying my first portfolio of properties. My first ever deal was a private deal that he owned. So I ended up buying a portfolio of 14 condos on the water in Windsor from him. And a couple years later, at the time, it wasn't like the greatest deal. This was like in the last crash. So like we're going through a crash right now. This was in the last one. So this was like 2008, 2009. Okay. When I ended up buying that portfolio of properties from him, and we ended up going through it. I ended up learning how to manage it myself. I ended up learning how to do the renovations myself, all the maintenance myself. I ended up actually strategically becoming president of the condo board in that building so that I can shift my agenda for what was being spent in there. I always thought that it was kind of being foolish, like the money was being foolishly spent. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to clean this up and run it like almost like a business, right? You got a bunch of retirees that were running the show in there. So I was like, okay, this needs a new life. So I ended up getting on the board. A couple years later, the supplement company, the store was doing actually really well. I realized, it's going to be too difficult to scale the store. At the time, I ended up starting a website. The website wasn't doing that well, but I was like, the website has legs. I can do it cross country. I can do it internationally, whatever. So I ended up selling the store and actually taking out equity that I built out from doing all the renovations in the condos, buying equipment to run my supplement company. Ended up getting like a 2,000 square foot building and buying equipment to manufacture product. And then that's where the supplement company ended up starting. And so now I got. So
you're basically boom, boom, boom. So let's break down a couple things that you're talking about here, because really in line with what we're talking about today is staying super focused. You said that you saved up 180 grand. For you to save 180 grand, you were young. You were probably what, 20?
I was like early 20s, like 22, 23.
Okay, so nobody does that, right?
Yeah, 20, 24, 20, 22, 23, 24, something like that.
Okay, so for those people that are listening right now saying, okay, well, it must be nice, Dan had 180 grand. No, he worked his butt off to save. Why? Why did you save 180 grand? Like, where did that come from? And did that give you a massive advantage in life?
Oh, massive. It was the pivotal point in my life. Like, if I look back now, why I am where I am now is because of that.
Because you saved it.
Yeah.
And how did you save 100?
Well, I legitimately, like I said, I was working. I was working since I was 8 years old, delivering papers. I ended up actually delivering papers like even into high school. So a lot of people would be like, "Well, that's a fucking kid's job."
Yeah.
I swear on the show.
Yeah, you swear on it. It's fine. I mean, my mother-in-law won't be happy. She'll send me an email later.
Fair enough. Well, I swear. So fuck it.
You're good.
So at the end of the day, I ended up doing papers.
Yeah.
And I carried that job even up until early high school, where I had 3 jobs at one point, and then it got to a point where I was making actually some good coin. So actually, at the end of the day, if you've got multiple jobs, so at one point I was doing dishwashing on the weekends, and then after school I was doing like produce at like Zehrs. So even if you're only making like 20 grand a year, you do that for a considerable amount of time, you're going to start making some bank. And then I got into GM as a student, right? So as a student, I'm making like 29 bucks an hour. And what I ended up doing, I realized like the importance of like work ethic there, because a lot of people there just didn't want to work, and especially the students. I saw the students constantly complaining. The management was always complaining about the students. So I was like, listen, okay, I'm going to come here. I'm going to shut my fucking mouth. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to do the best job that I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to work as fast as I can. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my job early so that I can go around to the other full-timers and relieve them off their job. Hey, you want to go home early? You want to do this? You want to do that? So it ended up becoming, I was like the favorite student at the plant because I was relieving other people. So, and I was doing a good job. So guess who got called first for work all the time?
Yeah. So you proved yourself. I'm gonna drop a bomb on that.
Yeah.
You proved it. Listen, what you're saying, I love that you're saying this, is that you were just willing to go and work. So when other people are pulling back and saying, well, I'm just a student, a couple things. It doesn't matter where you came from because you didn't get this money. You worked for it every day.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm hearing you say is that, hey, I was working when other people weren't willing to.
Yeah.
And I looked at an opportunity. So for, you working at GM on the line, making $29 an hour, which is great.
Yeah, it was like high 20s, like
whatever it was.
Like that. Yeah, yeah.
Sure, but people say, well, that's where he got it. That's where he got it. Or that's why he win. Folks, he created that opportunity because he was willing to work and willing to work. And when everybody else around you is not, that's why your shirt is so important. You'll hustle harder than everybody else around you. So if you have nothing, if you're starting with zero, or you're at home right now because you're shut down, your work, whatever, start hustling. You have to start doing. There's no other way, right?
No.
Right?
No.
Because that led, and that was a chain of events that led from you saving 180 grand. Dude, another thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
You bought your first real estate deal, 14 condos.
Yeah.
Not a duplex, not a single family, not a small property. Dude, what gives you the right? And okay, I'm going to say this way. What gives you the right and the balls to go out and buy 14 properties where most people struggle and say, real estate's risky, I can't even buy one?
We came to Canada in 1991 with nothing but a will to thrive. They risked everything they had, left behind everyone they knew.
The only way out of the country was illegal, and the risk was huge.
I adopted the mindset that my parents had of faith and vision for my life. You see, they helped me understand that you get to decide what happens in this world. By the age of 30, I became a millionaire. I refused to accept scarcity, limiting beliefs, or someone else's excuses. So you want to know what the secret is? People ask me all the time, what's the secret? You want to know what it's going to take for you to succeed? Here's the truth.
What gives you the right and the balls to go out and buy 14 properties where most people struggle and say, real estate's risky, I can't even buy one? I
realized, well, it's really easy when you don't have a backup plan, number one. So I dropped out of school, so I didn't have plan B. I actually had a couple messages about this over the last couple of days. Is like, do you recommend having a backup plan? If something doesn't fit, something doesn't work out. And my answer is not necessarily, because having a backup plan will always kind of prevent you from going all in on something. So me not having a backup plan and me kind of having like an affinity for real estate, I was like, listen, like this is the opportunity. I kind of recognized the value of waterfront property at the time. Windsor was in such a shitty market that I was like, can't get any worse. So at the very least, I'm going to go in there, rehab some units myself, do the work myself, because at the time I wasn't even working at that point. So I'm going to do all of the work myself and increase the value of the property, even if it's only like marginally, right? So I had so many people telling me not to do this. Oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you even investing in Windsor? It was unbelievable.
You got a lot of free advice, right?
Oh man, tons.
But you bought 14 deals, and from there you're basically doing homebrew. You're building your own, your own business from scratch, essentially, right? You're making the recipe, the formula, selling the formula. You get it going online. So, dude, the focus piece is where I'm really interested, because it sounds like you've got a lot of similarities, and I know this about you. I worked at the grocery store too when I was from 14 years age. I did newspaper penny savers since the age of I think it was 11. And it was like it just never stopped. I was always just doing something. And I didn't necessarily know what the outcome was going to be, but I was just focused on doing it. Because enough people weren't doing it. So I figured that if I just stayed with it long enough, I'd eventually get ahead somewhere somehow, right?
For sure.
So what keeps you in your zone, dude? What keeps you from getting distracted?
I don't even I don't have like an answer for that per se, but I don't even pay attention to like social media. Like I actually don't. Like I don't. I know I'm like on social media, but like I don't go. Like I don't like watch people. Like I don't care what people are doing. I don't know what anybody's doing. I don't know what the new hot car is. Like I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like I could care less about it. Like I don't really focus my life around other people's life. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't. I don't let it concern me.
So you living in your own reality.
I go in there even before I actually had somebody like managing my social media accounts for me. I would go in there, make my post, say my piece, and leave. Like I didn't number one have the time to like go scrolling through meaningless shit, and number two, I've just never been the type of person to be concerned with like other people that much. You know what I mean? And I don't have an answer. It's just I don't know if that comes naturally or whatever, but I also don't want to get caught up in it because I think I think anybody could actually get caught up in it if you pay attention too much to it.
Yeah. It becomes an addiction like anything else, right?
Yeah, it's like an addiction, right? So I don't even put myself in that position to.
So then that's the secret. We all get caught up in social media, but the secret seems go in, do your thing, and bounce.
Yeah, and you know what? And doing that, I think that kind of lends a little bit of credibility to when I have to say something because I'm not trying to say something based off of someone else saying it. Like I'm just saying something based off of my own experience, my own thought process, my own knowledge. So I don't care. Like I don't care what anybody else is saying out there. Like I'm just when I put out a piece of advice or video or some content or whatever, it's legitimately coming from like me and nobody else. Like I'm not like necessarily even like inspired by anybody to say that because I'm not paying attention to anybody. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really.
I love that. I love to jump a bomb on that because you're just doing you every day, which I love that aspect. I heard this one musician say one time, he's like, dude, what kind of music do you listen to? He's like, just mine. like he only listened to his own music. He's like, what am I need to listen to other people's music for? And I thought that was pretty brilliant. I think people who truly focus on their own businesses, they don't have time to compare to everybody else what they got going on. They just for every piece of energy that you waste unnecessarily on something that's not directly tied to your goals and your vision just pulls you further away from those goals and that vision.
Absolutely.
I had Ben on here yesterday, Ben Azadi, a fitness expert, health expert. He says we got to take stuff away from what we're doing, not add more stuff on. Remove the things that's going on. So what I come to admire about you is you're just doing it to do it. But by doing that, a lot of times you're first to market. Because you're not copying the cycle. You're just jumping in and saying, hey, these 14 properties, they seem like a good deal. Boom. You're not asking 1,000 people for their advice. No. You're just doing it if it makes sense to you. So how do you develop that intuition? What made you say it was a good deal?
Like technically?
No, just like in your gut, in your mind, like why did you buy them? Because everybody calculates this stuff differently.
Right? It was pretty much based off location and the fact that the market, I didn't feel like the market could dip anymore. It was already like a shit show here. So I already knew even if it came down even another 5%, which is even actually huge, considerably speaking, right? Like when you see a crash is usually like 20, maybe 30%, right? So if it even came down another quarter of that, I'd still be okay because it's only 5%. So it couldn't even get any worse. And the location was like, I mean, these condos are like literally right in front of the Renaissance Center on the river. So how do you lose? Like, how do you lose when you're buying a condo for 20 grand? Like $22,000. You can't. It's like impossible. You know what I mean? Like my car was like, how do you lose? Like, I don't know how you lose on that.
So you're just making an assessment, and it's just like the very first little single family I bought after the couple duplexes was 25 grand. And I'm going to raise money, and I'm like, I can't buy a car for this. So I don't know when it's going to come back. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it will come back.
Of course.
So I love, everybody says this thing like, back in 08, I should have done more. I should have, woulda, shoulda, coulda, those people. I get a sense from you, dude, that you're not living the woulda, shoulda, coulda. You're just doing it today. Like, oh, I should, I'll just do. And then you don't always win. I'm sure sometimes you got to sacrifice some losses, right?
Sure.
But do those hold you back, though? What's your whole thought on loss or failure?
I do everything in my power not to lose. Everything. I work the numbers first. I kind of know what I'm going into off the hop. I get a good understanding of the market prior to, I do a lot of due diligence so that I don't lose. And I feel like, knock on wood, but I've done a really good job of like mitigating loss, to be honest. Yeah. So a lot of these people are like, don't worry about failing and stuff like that. No, you should worry about it.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. Like you should do everything in your power not to fail.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you accepting failure?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that's a thing. Like, why is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, I think failing is not failure. Oh, I started this business, it didn't work out. Cool. Pivot, go harder.
Yeah, but you know what? I still think that like you should. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Don't let that keep you down because it is a reality. But at the end of the day, you should. I feel like when people start, everybody like what people got to understand is when you have this mindset in your head that like, hey, it's okay to fail. It's not okay. Because when you make it okay and you confirm that in your mind that it's okay to fail, you're almost kind of giving yourself a scapegoat. That's not I don't feel like that's a good mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? It's okay if I didn't give it my all because I've got plan B. It's okay. It's not okay.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my perspective. I don't know why people. I don't know. Maybe it sells them something. I don't know. I don't know what these guys are selling people when they say that.
Let me add a twist to that because the way I kind of see it is a little bit different. A lot of people go from 0 to 100. I'm either winning or I'm failing, but there's so much middle ground.
Sure, yeah.
And a lot of people are like, well, I'm just like they've got this imagination that they're gonna go bankrupt. Oh, I can't buy this piece of real estate. I'll go bankrupt. My family will leave me, and then I'll have nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's not a realistic expectation of the outcome.
Yeah.
The realistic expectation is you'll lose 10 grand.
Yeah.
You'll lose 15,000. You'll have to sell it at a discount. And if you go into that understanding that risk, and I think that's what it is not having the cop out, not being willing to like, oh, walk away and close it down, but understanding you got to fight.
Yeah.
Like if you're not willing to fight and you're giving up the moment it doesn't go your way, I don't think you understand the essence of business.
No, exactly, and that's what I guess that's more. You're much more articulate than I am.
I'll take it.
So at the end of the day, I feel like that's maybe what I'm trying to say is you can't go into something thinking like, oh, it's just okay to fail.
I agree with you.
Because if you go in thinking that, then it's going to be much easier for you to give up.
Yeah.
Because it's a cop-out.
But it takes a massive commitment to make anything work, right?
For sure.
Right. If we listen to Grant Cardone or the 10X philosophy, it takes 10 times the effort to get the result that you want to get. So if that's the case, you got to prepare. You got to go in and prepare to go way deeper and way heavier, raise way more capital, be way more focused on what you need to do if you truly want to accomplish that goal. Because if you're shooting for 100, you're going to come short.
Yeah.
You got to shoot for 1,000 to get to 100.
Yeah. That's
my mindset anyway. So when I go hard, I like to go hard, first to market, aggressive, and then I'm in the door.
Yeah. And
then you know what? If it had a chance of winning, I'm pushing it through. I think momentum is huge. So where does momentum play a part in your focus? Like how hard do you go in? Do you test the waters or are you double down on everything that you do?
I go full. Like I go hard. Sometimes I think I go a little too hard.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
I'll push things even though they're not ready.
Okay.
But I kind of use like an 80-20 philosophy where if I waited for something to be ready that was over 80% ready, then I just waited too long because people are forgiving. They'll forgive you if something's not ready 100%.
So the ready, fire, aim approach. You just like ready, fire the gun, and then I'll aim it or fix it afterwards. Give us an example of this. Like where have you done this?
Shit. I would probably say Clearmont.
Okay.
Where I wanted to go like balls to the wall right off the hop, but there were so many regulations in place in order to regulate a mortgage investment company with like CRA and what's the governing financing body? What's that called?
CMHC.
No.
Hans throwing up acronyms for
no, it's not what it is. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's the security exchange kind of thing.
Sure.
So it's kind of like the same, along the same thing. There was just too many obstacles to actually not do it 80%. It has to be like literally like 99.9% done correctly. So I ended up getting too tenacious about it and having to come back a bit, taking a couple steps back and saying, okay, my whole mindset is like move extremely quick. I can't do this here. And if I do it here, I am going to fail at it, or I'm going to get in like really deep shit.
Yeah.
So I had to scale it back and take a deep breath and make sure it was done correctly.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you're pushing though, like you're starting new businesses. Like you've got what?
Yeah.
How many businesses on the go right now?
5.
Okay, and these are real businesses.
Yeah.
I don't mean like you
The limo
you're an Uber driver and you're
the limo business and the VIP business is kind of like a side gig, but it's a 6-figure business.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
A side gig that's a 6-figure business
Yeah.
still sounds like a pretty reasonable business to me. But your main businesses are pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your supplement space, your real estate.
The supplement, the real estate, the cannabis, and the Clearmont.
Okay, so
investment.
So I get this question a lot. How do you focus when you obviously have you have multiple businesses on the go? How do you divide your time? Because so many people can't do one business.
Yeah.
Right? How do you divide your time among
You have to bring in the right people.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
You have to bring in the right people to be able to delegate to them so that they can, handle the duties themselves.
So you're not finding like the cheapest, whatever type of people you can find. You're looking for the quality people that are going to do the job right.
I like to find people that are hungry for success, but on the onset of that. So when you're starting a business and you've got multiple businesses in place, I'm not looking for like a Bain consultant to come in and like start whipping it up into shape, because that's, I'm going to have to pay the guy $500,000. What I'm looking for is somebody maybe out of school, even somebody that is, just looking to like, I have multiple people at my nutritional business right now that were just really good people, really hardworking people, and just want to like have substance in their life and want to even change their life for the better and want to prove it. That's like a perfect even manager for me, because that type of person can learn. That type of person is like moldable, and they'll do whatever it takes to even number one, be a part of success, whether it's on an individual level with them or as part of a team. So they want to be part of something big. So that's what I would recommend is you don't necessarily have to go after like the big fish to run the show. You have to go after the right fish to run the show.
Get the right people in the right.
You have to get the right people, the people that are hungry to succeed with you and that have your back. I went through a lot of people that like really legitimately fucked me, and I got dragged through the mud a couple times, but it is what it is, and that's business. Price of doing business, and you have to just find the good people that you can trust.
But it doesn't stop you from looking, though, right?
No.
Yeah.
It forces you to. It forces you to look.
Yeah. So when you're growing your business here, the truth is you have to constantly keep dialing in your own time and energy towards the highest priority activities, right?
Yeah.
So until you start bringing people in place to take off a lot of the secondary functions, the accounting, the bookkeeping, even some of the sales functions and marketing functions. So you're trying to find these people right away, or are you jumping in full tilt when you're building a new business?
So what I'll do is I'll jump in full.
Okay, you're getting your hands dirty.
Yeah, I'm getting my hands dirty. I'm doing a lot of the legwork. I'm doing a lot of like the due diligence and stuff like that, so that I can kind of set up the groundwork for someone to come in and take it to the next level.
Got it.
Yeah, with my direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're doing that. So you're getting dirty, because I know you, man. I see you, and you've got a beautiful two beautiful Lamborghinis, right? And for folks at home who don't know, Lambo Lapdog is my man. Hans, throw it on the screen for these guys to follow him on Instagram. The cars don't make him, but he's got some amazing cars, right? And he's got that stuff. But I see this guy whipping around in a $750,000 vehicle, and he's wearing sweatpants. And I'm like, what is going on with this guy? I mean, he's not a rapper. Like I don't get it. What's going on? What's going on? And I met you, and he said something really powerful. You basically said that I always stay ready to get dirty. You're willing to go and like just be in your sweatpants, because you might have to go and jump into something.
Yeah.
You might have to go, and you said even your workouts, right? Like you're big into working out. You say I might only have some time to jump into a workout. So talking about that mindset of always like you don't give a crap about wearing a Boss Armani suit all day. You could be rocking a $300,000 car with $20 pair of shoes. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that mindset of always being in the zone.
Talk about the mindset of always being.
Because I don't see you getting distracted very often, or am I wrong?
I get distracted just like anybody else, but I try to knock myself back. As soon as I see myself becoming undistracted. How do I get in the zone? I mean, I'm just extremely focused on making an impact in this world. I really am. Like I'm extremely focused on living like an epic life. Like that's one of my things too. Like I want to do epic shit.
But what does that mean to you? Like,
I want to live on my terms.
Yeah.
I feel like that's epic.
Okay.
Like when you don't have to answer to people and you can do what you want, I feel like that's epic. And I'm just very focused on leaving a legacy. I'm very focused on also offering value to people, as you can see, like on the pages that on Lambo Lapdog and everything. Like I'm kind of changing the narrative on there because there's only so much value that you can bring of like shooting your car all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm changing that up, and I want to offer value to people. I feel like I got a lot of things I got to say, and I feel like I got a lot of reframing to do from what a lot of people think out there. And I want to offer value, like I said, leave a legacy and live as epic as I can.
So let's talk about this. This is such an important part. I think this kind of ties into focus. The ready, fire, aim approach. You go out and you buy $1 million car, right? And I'm like, wow, this beautiful, car. You've got an Aventador and SV, the high-end one, SVT, right? And then
SV, yeah,
SV. There's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And then you've also got the Huracan Performante, two really, really nice Lamborghinis. You buy these cars, you get on Instagram, you start doing videos about the cars and whatever. And in the middle of that, you start getting followers, right? So you get to 10,000 followers, whatever, keep growing, keep growing. In the middle of that, you're like, you know what? It's working, but I want to change the messaging and be who I am. So in that ready, fire, aim approach, that is a perfect example where you're like, you know what? I'm getting momentum, but I need to pivot what I'm doing. Is that kind of how it happens in your life, even with your other businesses, how you're kind of focusing on your personal brand right now?
Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
Yeah, pretty much. I have like epiphanies, and this one was basically, how many times does somebody have to, how many times you have to pull up to a gas station? Really, this is a long time coming. I should have done this a long time ago, but it never fails. I'll pull up to a gas station, pump some gas, and I don't get asked about the horsepower of the car. I don't get asked about like, hey, this is a nice color, whatever. No, I get asked, what do you do? All the time, never fails. So I should have done this from the onset. I knew it was the right move, but nonetheless, we're doing it now. But I don't know.
So you just going. So what I'm kind of extrapolating from this is that number one, you're staying humble, which I love that you're rocking the gear. Because it's not about like, I know everything, I'm the baddest. A lot of people look at folks who have $1 million car and they say, wow, this guy must be a dick. This guy must be, but dude, you're just a genuine guy who just shows up and you're pumping gas. I remember seeing something that you did, which was you went out for Halloween dressed as Batman. Right?
That was probably the funnest video I ever did in my life.
Yeah, and you went out, and you were rolling by as Batman in this $1 million.
And I had a guy dressed as Robin. I was handing out candy through the window with the kids.
See, that's epic stuff though, because who can claim they've done that? You're literally driving in the Batmobile, just rolling around. And you had a legit Batman suit on, right?
Yeah, it was fun. That was fun.
I love that. I love the idea of being able to just create your own life and do what you want, but it comes with a price, and I think that price is you have to learn to focus.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole show is about.
You won't get far. You won't get far unless you do.
So do you keep up with the stats? Like right now, all this stuff's going on with COVID and blah. Are you a part of any of that?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Okay. Well, okay, because I admire that about you, because you don't even have a clue what's going on, and not.
I have a clue. But
not in the media space.
No, I have not watched. Like I maybe watched, because everybody's like, oh my god, the news is saying this, the news is saying that, the news is saying this. I maybe watched 5 minutes of news, and that was it. I was like, I can't even handle this anymore. It's ridiculous.
So what should other people like? How can they extrapolate from you today? What should they be doing with their focus? Because I think a lot of people, they don't have that internal. If it's a discipline, we'll discover it today, but whatever that is, they don't have it. They're so distracted, easily influenced by everybody else. And not influencing their own behavior, but they're influenced by other people's behavior. What can they start to do? How do they become like more of a ninja like Dan?
I think they need to number one, form like a goal, like what they want. I think a lot of people lack direction.
Okay.
So I think they need to figure out where they want to go and then work backwards. Well, if I need to go here, if I want to be here, how am I going to get there? And if this is how I'm going to get there by not paying attention, not wasting time on social media, not like caring what other people think, not listening to naysayers and things like that, and listening to all the the negativity and doom and gloom. If that's part of getting to where you're going, if it's literally removing that from your life, then that's what you have to do. You just have to look at where you want to go. If you want to be a drama queen, then that's what you do. Take part in drama. If you don't, and if you want to end up here, what is it going to take? If you want to go here, but you're here, what do you need to do to get here, right? And in order to get here, you got to focus. So if you need to focus, take everything out that's not allowing you to focus in your life. So if that's like, stop watching the news, stop listening to negativity, stop being around negative people, stop hanging around with people that are dragging you down, stop, focusing on other people's material possessions, stop like wasting time on social media, stop watching, Jake Paul do dumbass shit, like whatever the case is,
Sorry, JP.
Whatever. I don't even know if that, like, I saw some post, he's on my mind because some guy brought him up to me and I was like, he like lit a mattress on fire and I'm like, he's like, did you see that? I'm like, no, I didn't.
You see,
like, I'm not. Like,
let's talk about
interested.
reality, because here's what happens. I think with guys like you who get it is like, we're going out to create whatever's happening, creating. Boom! I'm gonna go buy this car, create the video. I'm gonna create this piece. I'm gonna create this business. I'm gonna hire people. I'm gonna do this. You're putting your creativity out into the world. You're not consuming other people's creativity. I think this is where people get stuck. They're doing both. They're trying to consume as much as they can. They're trying to be influenced by that consumption, and then they'll roll out to be, create. It's like, I need to get motivated before I can go and do something. And I think the point is just go do it.
Oh yeah.
Stop trying to wait for other people to set the tone for you and just go do it.
And this is hilarious. I get asked this all the time. They're like, oh man, you must just like get out of bed and like just conquer the day. I'm like, no, I'm not at all. Like, I fucking hate mornings. I don't want to get out of bed the majority of the time. I wake up and I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm just not that guy. So at the end of the day, I just don't want to, and I feel like that's very like, I feel like the problem in today's society is like, if you're not that natural guy that does that, you're already like setting yourself up for failure because you're like, what's wrong with me? I'm not that guy. How can I become that guy? Well, you don't have to be that guy. Like, sometimes you just have to motivate yourself to be that guy. And like, here's the thing too, like, maybe you need to like do you instead of like doing other people. Why the fuck you gotta wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning? Maybe you're most effective in between 10 and 2 a.m. Like, why does it have to be like 5 a.m. to like whatever time? You don't have to necessarily wake up in the morning, like super early. The only, like, I'll give you an example. The reason why I wake up super early when I don't want to, but I do, is because our shift number one at work starts at like 6:30. And before 9 o'clock, my phone's ringing like off the fucking hook. So in order for me to get certain tasks done before shit's hitting the fan, I have to wake up a little bit earlier, right? But, you don't have to do that. Like, Jeff Bezos doesn't like, I think he makes like all of his important decisions, like, I think I read this somewhere, like after 10 a.m. Like, why do you have to conform to like what other people are telling you if that's like not naturally you? So you're going to do what's not naturally you, fail at it, then potentially fail at whatever you're doing because now you consider yourself a failure, right? Just do whatever is comfortable for you.
So you're not copying everybody.
No, you don't have to. Why do you have to do that?
100%. Like, listen, if you can be productive for 2 hours and you can go watch TV for 2 hours, then go and do it.
Yeah, whatever. I'm
going to agree with you on this, and I'm going to drop some bombs on this because I think a lot of people are copying. There's nothing wrong with you waking up early. There's nothing wrong with you working late. Everybody functions differently, and everybody's got different times where they're super productive. It's no different than working out. Oh, I have to work out at 6 a.m. That's you. That's your metabolism. That's your frame. That's your activities. That's your life. Other people working out at 9 o'clock at night. So there's not a right and a wrong answer. I think what people need to do is give themselves a break, figure out who they are and when they can take action. Don't make excuses for it. Like, do the work. I believe in bookends. You wake up, you go to bed. Just get it done between them. I don't care if it's 9 to 9, 6 to 6. It doesn't really matter. It may matter to you. You may feel better. I like waking up early, but I don't do it. So I'll be honest. I don't get up as early. I got people wake up way earlier than I do. Because it's not me. But I'm also rocking. I'm going until later. So you don't even have to justify it. It's not like you have to work harder than the next guy. I think to an effect there is working harder, but there's also working way smarter. A lot of people work hard. And I can't justify the guy who gets up at 4 a.m. to go work his McDonald's shift or his Timmy shift or whatever. Like that guy works hard too.
Yeah.
I can't sit here like a lot of entrepreneurs are like, man, I just got to work harder. Like I'm working harder than the Tim Hortons guy. No, you're not. You're not working harder than the guy who's working his factory job at 3 a.m. shift. And you're like, it's not about harder. It's about understanding your value and working so much smarter.
Yeah.
Understanding where you can provide value and keep going and going. But I think it's important to create. I think that's when we get an edge, when we create. You created an opportunity for yourself. You bought 14 condos. Obviously, those things went up in value, and now you're benefiting by a rising tide lifting all boats. Other people bought 1 condo. You chose to buy 14. So I think you just
I had the wherewithal, right? So I created that reality that I wouldn't be able to.
So what do you mean by that? How did you create that reality?
Well, I essentially had the down payment.
Because you had the money.
Yeah, I had the money.
So it all goes back to your basic discipline, which is I'm just going to work, save my money, and then you are in a position where you recognize a chance as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Dude, that's epic.
Yeah, I always knew that if I had this, I would be able to do this. I always knew that.
So do you think a lot of people don't do the second because they never bothered to do the first?
Oh, for sure. How many people do you know, like young people, are so focused on? I had a guy contact me the other day, and he's like, "Hey, like check out the car I'm buying. He's 23 years old, just started his business like 6 months ago." And I'm like, "You sure you want to do that?" He's like, "Yeah, I can afford it." I said, "Okay." What am I gonna say? You know what he does? He's in like real estate. I don't know that's like. I feel like that's a bad move. That's a bad move. That shit will set you back.
So let's talk about that stuff, because like you got, again, really nice vehicles, nice stuff. How long before you started buying that stuff?
When you need to buy stuff like that, when you can take the money and not miss it. That's when you buy it.
Take the money and not miss it.
In terms of me, because for me, the opportunity cost is too great to commit to something like that at that value, rather than using it to catapult whatever I'm doing. That's my perspective.
So, and I love you saying that, because I think the same way you do. So you're saying when you don't miss the money. So if your business needs it, if your family needs it, if you need to put food on the table with it, do not buy a Lamborghini.
You don't do it. Yeah. No. When you're set up, when you can take that money, it's almost like what people say, like in terms of like even like the stock market. You got extra cash, you put it in the stock market, but don't consider that like your money. When you can do that, then you can buy a car.
So it teaches you. So I like you're saying that, because
that might be a bad analogy, because the stock market could potentially actually make you money, and more than likely you're going to lose money on cars.
But it's not a bad analogy, and I'm going to agree with you on that piece, because if you can't afford to lose it, you can't put it in the market.
Exactly.
Or any investment where you don't understand where the consequence truly is. Because people are like, I'm getting invested in the market. What do you know about the stock market?
Yeah.
How much do you truly understand equities?
Yeah.
How much do you like? I get it. Some people will make money, but some people also lose tons of money. And if that's the money that you need to live, you haven't yet mastered yourself. How are you going to master the market?
Yeah.
See, the market is all driven by emotional, market movements and sentiment. And I think a lot of businesses too. So would you agree with this statement that the first thing you need to do is conquer you?
Yeah.
Get your discipline in order.
Yeah.
And you said something to me a while ago, which I always remember. If somebody wants to get their business in order, where should they start? What is the one thing people can do today if they want to be a business owner, successful, healthy? Like, what's the one thing they should be doing every day?
Oh, take their physical fitness and their diet more serious.
Okay.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yep.
Yeah.
You said I asked you one day.
I want to make sure.
Yeah, I asked you, what can people do for their business? You said workout.
Yep, absolutely.
So why is that your answer?
Okay, so I think it also is more so like, what can I do to become more successful? I think the reason why I put so much emphasis on that is because I attribute what it takes to change your body to what it will take in order to become a successful business owner. The dedication, the time, the effort, all of that stuff is the same as what it will take to run a business. At the end of the day, we're talking about a marathon. We're not talking about a sprint. It takes obscene amount of dedication. And I don't mean like, just like, hey, I'm just going to like lose 5 pounds in the next 4 months. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm like, truly take your physical fitness and your nutrition to a whole other level where you're like transforming yourself. That will take an obscene amount of dedication, an obscene amount of perseverance, discipline, all of that stuff. And it's the same exact thing what it takes to build a business. It's exactly the same, even more so with a business, but it's the same type of thing. It takes the same type of drive and everything.
So the way you do one thing is the way you do the other.
Yeah, it's very similar. Like I've always noticed that it's very similar. Not only that, but like once you start taking your physical fitness better, more serious, your diet more serious, number one, you feel better. You end up developing more confidence, which will also help you in business. You feel better. So when you feel better physically and you're consuming better, nutrients, your mind's going to work better. I can work much longer when I'm eating better than when I'm not. So it also allows me to, talking about like just working smarter, I can work harder and smarter, because I'm physically fit, my mind is fit, emotionally I'm fit because my hormones aren't all out of fucking whack, so that stuff controls everything. Whatever I put in my body is controlling everything. So it allows me to operate at like levels that say an average person just can't, because I'm fit physically, and physically I'm not average, I'm above average. It's just actual, like technically, like I'm above average. So if I'm physically above average and able to handle more physically demanding days, I'm going to be probably allow myself to mentally be stronger, emotionally stronger. It has such a profound effect on business. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Really
I
does.
think one of the biggest pieces is this. It's mastering your mind, because I think this is where we all get stuck. And the reason why
I got another one for you.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna interrupt you.
Yeah, hit me.
So I do these diets every year. Okay. I'm gonna probably start posting it on Instagram and stuff like that about what I'm doing. I'm about what am I about? What's today? It's the 10th, right? So I'm about 5 weeks into a diet right now. Okay. So I'm about a 16-week diet. Doing stuff like that ends up like giving you so much, how can I explain this? Just, you feel like it can end up doing anything.
Control.
Yeah, it gives you so much like control and so much like, what's the word I'm looking for here? What's the word?
Control.
Not control, not confident. Like, what's the word here? Guys, help me out here.
Motivation.
Motivation.
Resolve. Conviction.
Empowered. Yes. I feel so,
Belief,
I feel so, it's empowered.
Okay,
I feel so empowered when I do this.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I can do anything else, because control what you eat for 16 weeks solid. I have eaten the same fucking thing for 14 days straight. Okay. Every meal of every day, 14 days. I got a cheat meal for Easter because, we're going to have, a little bit of an Easter dinner. That's my cheat meal. After that, I'm going strong again. Like 14. You know what that does? Do that. Just, I invite anybody to do that. So that's why physical fitness and diet related stuff is so empowering, because if you can do that, you can do almost anything. If you can have the dedication to be able to do that, you're good. You're solid.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because I think that really is the secret here, is you got to squash that inner punk.
And here's the thing too.
Right?
Here's the thing that I will say. A lot of people won't taste what entrepreneurship is and business ownership is, but they can taste that. They can get a taste of that.
They can feel that. If you're willing to
that.
undergo that kind of stress, control, that kind of, manipulating your body, because truthfully, your body wants sugar, your body wants crap, your body wants to cheat, your body wants flexible dieting. And when you go boom, there's going to be no compromise for 30 days. Then you're ready to get into business.
Make it your lifestyle. Don't just like say, hey, I'm going to do this for 30 days. No, you got to make it your lifestyle. You have to make it part of who you are,
Well, you become that. We'll say, I'm an entrepreneur. I think an entrepreneur is a journey of discipline.
For sure.
And it's a journey of sacrifice. Like, I don't want to get up and go and deal with my employees who annoy me all day, right? You might be thinking that, but you have to. You don't have a choice. Easy hands, okay? Or I don't want to go out, and I don't want to go and borrow money and risk my all this stuff, raising capital to put a deal together. But this is what it takes to be an entrepreneur. It's ultimate accountability. So if you can master your mind, master your fitness, then you're well on your way. But if you can't get those two things in check, aside from the health benefits, aside from the energy, you can't even master this piece that's very controllable. How do you expect to master this? This is a hard game. It's not I think a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs because it sounds cool, but I don't think they have any business being entrepreneurs.
Oh, there's multiple days where I'm like, fuck, is this worth it? It's just,
it's hard.
Oh, it's tough. It's for sure. Yeah, it's tough. And listen, like my whole goal throughout this whole, personal branding and growth, or whatever you want to call it, is to be absolutely real with people. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck? And that's real, man. Like, it's not, you see, everybody sees the cars and everybody sees all this. And So it's tough, man. It really is. It's really tough. It's mentally draining. And that's what I mean. Like you have to do things that are going to allow you to perform at such a higher level, because you will not be able to keep going. You just won't.
See, it's new plateaus, right? It's new plateaus in business and in your mindset. So if you're like, oh man, I hit this plateau in my business, dude, go work out and get your body to a new level. Go get your mindset to a new level. Once you do that, then it'll give you the confidence and the tools to take it up a notch. It's all about floors and ceilings with business, right? Like a lot of people, when they get started, boom, they got a floor, the ceiling. They never break out of their initial ceiling. They never ask for help. They never join a mastermind. They never think bigger. They never, like take bigger perceived risks. They always get stuck in that comfort zone. And I think being a real business owner is about getting uncomfortable.
Oh, there you go.
And in fact, the word entrepreneur, I don't even like that word. It doesn't mean anything to me. You're a business owner, right? Boom. Entrepreneur is some fancy hipster word that frankly, I don't even know what it means. I know what a business owner is. You're a guy or a girl who owns something and you're responsible for that thing like it's your child.
We should almost bring up the real definition.
What's the definition of entrepreneur?
What is it?
A hipster definition for a cool 20th century, what is it? A person who organizes and operates a business, taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. Okay, whatever, fine, fair enough. And then business owner, what's that definition? All right, not in Hindi. I mean, I want it in English, please. If possible, that'd be helpful from the show. Okay. Individual entity owns a business entity, an attempt to profit from successful operations of a company, generally has decision-making abilities and first right to profit. So I like the idea of creating something. I hustled and grinded long enough. I played business owner long enough. And if you're the only person in your company, I don't care how much revenue you make, you're not a business owner. The business owns you. Right? If you handle every phone call, if you do everything, if you do the paperwork, it's not a business. I believe business starts when you hire people. That's when business starts. Because up until then, it's essentially a well-paid hobby, right? When you start hiring people and when you have an actual process in place and it becomes scalable, then it becomes real business. Would you agree?
I would agree. And learning how to deal with people is a massive.
Dude, talk about that skill set, because people don't know, like, I can be in business. I can sell real estate. Yeah, but can you sell yourself and talk to people?
That's actually one thing that I struggle with, to be quite honest. I think I'm really good. I'll explain. Let me explain. So I feel like I'm really good at surrounding myself with like high level people. However, I really would love to, and that's what I'm working on right now. I'm actually working on this right now, is developing a better relationship with my employees so they get to like know who I actually am, because I have a good amount of employees and it's hard for me to, it's hard. They can't all get to know me. But I've always been cut from the type of cloth of you go to work, you do your job and you do it good and you don't need a pat on the back. Well, that day like doesn't really exist anymore, I feel. And people need to know that they are doing a good job. There's nothing wrong with that. And if they are doing a good job, they deserve to be told that and they deserve to be acknowledged. And because that was never me, I have a hard time. It leaves my mind. So that's actually something that I'm working on, is to like let people know like how much I really do truly appreciate them. Not so much on like a higher level or like executives, but like from the floor down or from the floor up. That's what I'm talking about.
See, you're probably like me, where we didn't go to work for the pat on the back. We went just because it was the right thing to do. We had a purpose. So whether they told me I did a great job or not, I just did my work. I got paid. I got my money. Boom, went on. But we understand as business owners, the people that will grow our companies are the people that need acknowledgement. And people will take acknowledgement and they'll take appreciation before they even take more money sometimes.
Potentially, yes.
It's a very real scenario, right? People want to feel fulfillment in whatever area. Not everybody's going to be a diehard entrepreneur, risk it all, go crush. Some people just want the stability and they want to work with a diehard entrepreneur.
Yeah, they want to be part of a bigger, the bigger picture. They want to be part of something big.
Yeah,
they want to be a part of something, right? Sure. So yeah, that's something that I'm actually working on, and it's part of the growth of running a business. You hit a certain level and you start getting all kinds of personalities in there, and then something starts breeding at work and potentially even could change the culture. Yeah, you can't let that happen. You have to do whatever you can to maintain a positive culture, and part of that positive culture comes from the top down, and I'm starting to really see that, and recognizing the faults of myself even, as a business owner, which I'm not perfect. I'm not here because I'm like some kind of expert. You know what I mean? I've just done it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think perfection is the thing. Becoming a leader is not about perfection. It's about progress.
Exactly.
Understanding the opportunities, understanding how we, and you got to develop who you are to help other people. Truly, the economy of me. If you can't take care of you, you can't develop yourself. You can't help anybody else. So as we kind of tie it up here, for people struggling with focus, people struggling to find their place in the world, especially right now with all the distractions going on. Do you have any advice for people that you could share with them that might help them out?
Yeah, just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Don't watch what other people are doing so much, and honestly, get off social media. Which is I shouldn't say get off social media. Just make sure you're watching the right people. Make sure you're watching positive people and people that you can truly apply their message to your life. I think that is so important. I think that so many people watch the wrong people. That's what I should say, because it is true. And don't be consumed with, just the fluff. If you're going to consume something, make it very direct. Make it direct in every second that you consume something. Make it applicable to your goal. That's what I would say.
I love it.
I always, for myself, I always try to explain to people, pretend you have an exam the next day and you have to study. What are you going to do? Are you going to go on there and do all kinds of dumb shit? No, you're going to try to focus. That's how I feel every day of my life. I feel like I have the biggest exam of the semester the next day. That's whenever I wake up in the morning, that's exactly how I feel. People ask me, what's it like being an entrepreneur? You remember being in school, university? Well, imagine tomorrow you have an exam and you haven't studied yet. That's how I feel every day.
Yeah.
So are you going to go consume shit that's not going to help you study or help you pass that exam? No, you're not. You're going to focus and you're going to study and you're going to do whatever you can to pass that exam. So that's what you need to do every day. You need to do that every single day until it gets you to where you want to go.
See, I love that advice, and I'll add one piece to that. The way that I kind of stay, because naturally I get lazy too. The way that I stay dialed in is I always book stuff in my calendar. Book it. So like, hey, I have this show. Dude, I got 3 hours. Boom, we got to crank this thing out. Boom. I have an event, so I'm booking all the time. Otherwise, I get lazy. Otherwise, a Sunday will come along like, oh, that's a nice Sunday. We should just go and hang out. But it's like, nope, I'm booking this thing. No, I'm booking this thing on a Saturday. No, I'm booking this thing at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. meeting, 9:30 meeting, 10 o'clock. Like, boom, 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 back-to-back meetings, and then it keeps you in the zone. So if you can't have the discipline to get up and do it yourself, then create accountability by having other people keep you there. Like, hey, dude, we have a meeting at 7 a.m. You need to be there. And that's what I think it takes, is creating that accountability to keep you focused in the zone. And once you do, dude, you can do amazing things.
It's very we're us as a society and even individuals, we're very capable. We're very capable if we just focus. Problem is, people don't focus.
I think our brain can do so much more than what we like. You're only going to solve the problems you give it. So if you give it $5 problems, that's what it's going to solve. If you start giving it real $100,000 problem, $200,000 problem, you start thinking about bigger things, and you put yourself in a position where you got to fight your way out. Go start a business. Listen, if you need to make $10,000, go start a business. In fact, get into a community of people who are making money. Get into a community of folks that are growing their business, their net worth, and get connected. So for those of you guys that need help with this, you can roll over. You can hang over to cashflowtribe.ca. If you guys want to connect with us, you need some mentorship and some help. I love connecting with guys like Dan. Dan has been so generous with his time today here, which is awesome. I know you got a lot of stuff on the go, man, so I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And folks at home, make sure you follow my man. What's the best place for them to connect with you? I know other than Instagram and YouTube.
Probably those two. Snapchat even.
Okay. You on the Snapchat now?
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing because I don't handle too much of my own social media anymore, but I do handle the Snapchat. So I'm gonna be on Snapchat.
Are you TikToking nowadays?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
I like TikTok, man. Yeah. I like it. I'm not on there like dancing and shit yet, but I might start getting on there singing a little bit. Like I don't know, maybe I like it. I like having fun a little bit. Awesome. It's kind of fun. Maybe like do some like DMX rapping or something.
There you go. Okay.
A little 50 Cent. All right. Maybe you might see me on there doing that.
Make sure you follow my man as soon as he blows up on TikTok. He's gonna make it work for sure. But no, that's awesome, man. So guys, connecting girls with my man. Dropping daily value here on Instagram and YouTube, and make sure you connect with Dan and check out what he's got going on. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate a real business owner in a time of a time of where people are lost, getting some clarity and confidence.
Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble, featuring daily episodes of the Humble Podcast and weekly video content providing motivation, real estate strategies, and personal development for everyday life. Also, follow Ben on Facebook and Instagram for daily interactions. Check out humble.ceo and download a chapter of Ben's new book, From Communism to Capitalism, absolutely free.